Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Bruce, CMO at Agent Moves, and welcome to our Good to Great series. We're all about sharing amazing stories with top realtors and how they got there so we can help make more realtors great. So let's get in with our guest today. Welcome, Maria Raspanti. Did I get the last name right, Maria?
You did. It's Raspanti. Close enough.
Raspanti. All right, good. Excellent. All right. I take pride in trying to get the names right since mine, no one knows how to say mine. So that's okay.
That's
Some
good.
say brew, bruh. I said, no, my dad says brew, Kanye says bruh. But anyway.
That's great.
It became a cool name. So welcome, Maria. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for taking the time here. People that watch these videos know that I like to talk about something not related to real estate, since that's all we're going to talk about. And kind of
hmm
a cool thing here with Maria, husband ran some big businesses. He's retired to be the stay-at-home dad with their 13-year-old son who's on that path to hopefully professional golf. So at
Right.
13, they're doing homeschooling and tournaments. And I did some stuff with my kids in the soccer world, but it was never homeschooling like to this degree.
Right.
I'm sure we'd love to hear about, the experience.
Yeah. It evolved from COVID. When COVID was happening in February, my husband had decided that he wanted to retire and spend time at home with our son. He had been traveling for years and he felt that he was really missing out while he was just getting into second grade. He said, it's time for me to be home. So I said, that's great. Then COVID hit. And before you knew it, we were essential. And he became the dad at home and he was doing homeschool online to finish out the year. He was keeping him active, playing more golf, whether it was on a course, because we're in Florida, so we were open, and he loved it. And my business started to evolve into a bigger business, and the roles switched. So he loves being there in the mornings to make breakfast, and they're at pickup line with all the moms, and then they're out on the course playing tournaments, and whether it's a PGA tournament or a Hurricanes tournament or just playing for his homeschool, which was his previous school. So he went to a private Christian school and now he still plays with them. So he's got the best of both worlds and
Wow.
he's living the life that I probably couldn't have dreamt for him. So I'm
Wow.
very happy for both of them. And I love real estate and this is, now become our business.
Right. Yeah. Just just great. Yeah, like you said, it allowing you to, it's turned into this business that allows this to just be fluid and,
Yeah.
and run this with son is just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. It's a life by
So yeah,
design.
just
That's what we live
wonderful.
by.
And we're gonna have to follow you because, I mean, golf, if there's anything that's on TV 24/7, it's golf.
Oh, especially in Palm
So
Beach.
we'll be looking for your son in a couple of years.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so tell us about a little bit. I know since we had a little bit of conversation, I know you're in South Florida, know just where you are. Tell us a little bit about how you make the turn and get involved in real estate. And we'll talk, kind of step by step in building the successful business you have.
Okay. So 30 years ago, I took a position with a title company in New York. And up until the time that I left New York and moved to Florida in 2003, I had continued that title path here. So I had worked in title and a law firm for a good 18 years before I made the switch to becoming an agent. It seemed like the best transition. My son was born very premature and I knew I was going to have to be home for a year but was also going to need to do something other than be a mom. And I needed something to focus on outside of mommyhood. Real estate was what I knew, and becoming an agent was the best thing I could do. And then I found out not only working on our own investments, right? I realized how much we were paying an agent on all our investments. So I got licensed and further realized that I was pretty good at it, right? I was doing more than just our own personal investments. At the time, we owned 8 or 9 homes. So we were saving all those commissions, but then I realized, wait, we got something here. And while my son was in preschool and I started to build a network outside of the title world, I built a second network of moms, people in town, and that became a lot of my database. So I didn't go outside looking for business when it was coming to me through my son, right? Preschool moms, if I could get in front of both mom and dad, I knew I was going to be the agent of choice. A lot of it also had to do with the migration of so many New Yorkers in South Florida. They liked the idea that, I still had those values and I didn't lose my hustle. And we got it done. So I did have the network of people through title, right? I had met so many other agents and so many attorneys along the way, and they knew how I worked there. It was an easy choice to refer business to me. Now I'm
Right.
working with a network of people who are moms and dads. It was it was great to merge the two together. So one network got to know the other network, and in total, it became my entire database.
Right.
So
Well,
it was great.
fantastic. So tell us a little bit about it getting started, right? Different than maybe, other agents that jump into this and they're kind of changing careers totally unrelated. They
Correct.
don't start with any kind of a database at all. At least you had some, and you had the reference of really being in the business. How did the first year go?
So the first year was really me finding myself and really finding out what I didn't know about the agent side. So um, I had to make sure that I knew I needed the CRM, right? I knew I needed a tracking system, and I knew that I had to be in as many places as I could without disrupting my family, right?
Mhm.
So it was where I was that I used for marketing and advertising, right? So when my kids started golf at 4 years old, well, I was already on the golf course. So I was wearing a t shirt, a hat, and I didn't go outside of that. So for me, it was a lot of rentals at first to get the experience. And then once I can flip the switch and started getting into the listing side, because I was taught through KW that the listing side is where you want to be because you don't have to work as hard, right? You're not out on the street. You're not going into communities. You're not driving around, making appointments. Well, if all I have to do is try and sell the house from where I am in one place, I want as many listings as I can.
Yeah.
And that was the path. That was the goal. I knew that I have to put the work in and be a buyer's agent so that I can get to know the communities, get to know where people wanted to be, why they wanted to be in those communities. I had to become the expert. And the only way I could do that is getting property sold to people that I knew. And then that's when the transition started changing. And I think it was probably year 2 or 3 that it took a jump when I made the move over to KW.
Right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. Excellent. So tell us some of the things you do in the community, right? Because it sounds like all of this has been more organic, right? You're not buying
Very
leads, I
much.
take it.
No,
Right.
everything is
So
organic.
tell us about, how you got involved. Yes, you connected with your kids. Everyone is, but obviously you have to work it. It doesn't just happen
100%.
by accident, right? Just because you're around, you go to us. So tell us about how you worked it, what kind of events you went to, and then I'm sure you do events, what kind of events you create.
Correct. So I made sure that if there was someplace I could be while my kid was in school, whether it was a chamber of commerce meeting, whether it was a village meeting, somewhere that I was getting visible without paying, right? You're not paying to be a part of your community, right? So I would pick Facebook events that could be family friendly. My tag is your family living. Right. So we're populated with families here in the village that I live. We're 80% residential, 20% commercial, and that's the way it has to stay. So I made sure that I was at the 4th of July events and the park events, and I had to be there anyway, right? I was there with my son and my husband. So I made it a point to meet new people over and over. As time evolved, I took a position, a volunteered position. I was asked if I would like to sit on the board for one of our village boards. So I sit on the architectural board for our village, which is ideal for a realtor, right? We want to know what's coming to the village. We want to know what it's going to look like. Is it consistent with what the village wants? Colors, schemes, the whole thing. Is it a business that we want? So that gives you more visibility.
Wait,
Again,
wait,
it's
wait,
not
hold on.
paying for
Do me-
leads.
I'm sorry, do me a favor. Let's stay with this for a minute, Maria, because
Okay.
we're making this like it's easy, okay? Like it was easy that, now they invite you to be on the board, right? This is not
Right.
easy, right?
No,
This took a
no,
lot of work. So
it
I
does.
want you to just talk a little bit. Again, I want agents to get something out of this. What did you do? How did you get close enough? You attended meetings, but you obviously participated. It had to be more than that they saw the value of you to ask you to be on the board.
So I think what happens is you start to meet the right people, right? You have to put yourself in a position with people of influence. So it was going to the village. It was speaking of positivity and not being the negative Nelly. Like, oh, I don't want that. And I don't want that. Come from a place of curiosity and say, hey, why are we doing that? Why are we only 80%, 20%, right? Why are we so focused on that? And it was knowledge, right? It was people wanted to know, why do you want to know? Right. So when the vice mayors are there and the council people are there, like, why are you asking so many questions? Well, I'm in a service industry, right? And I need to service my clients with correct information. They want to share that information now with people who want to share it with people who are coming to the area. You can never know enough about your town where you live and where people want to move. So you have to put yourself in front of those people. So whether it was fundraisers, galas, I made sure I knew who was in the room and I made sure I introduced myself. You want to be of positivity and bring what other people want just as much as you want from them. It's a give take. So set
Very good.
yourself up
Very
and
good.
be at the
Good, good.
right
Thank you
table.
so very good. Very, very good. So tell me a little bit about some events that you create now. So now you get involved in the community. It's a couple of years later, right? You got this
Hmm.
thing running really nicely. You're
Yep.
participating, right? And now you're going to start to create your own events around your sphere and your past customers and so forth. So
Right.
tell me some of the things you're doing there that keep you touching your
So I think understanding your database is most important, right? So understanding that with me, I had a lot of families, right, coming to town, um, moving up in size, downsizing. If you can't understand that, then you can't throw a good enough event, right? So at one point in time, I knew that my database consisted of families with kids under the age of 10, right? Of all different faiths, of all different religions. And what I found was early on, I would have a Santa event and also celebrating Hanukkah as well, right? So we would bring Santa and then we would bring a Hanukkah event as well at the same time. It was kind of split room. And then I have a photographer there, and this was in November. And we did the Santa event, but it was a little bit different, right? Everybody got a wish list. We wanted to know who the kids were. I always found that if you love on your clients' children, right, and know their names and know what they like and where they've been and where they go to school, it gives you the edge because now they know you're listening, right? You're paying attention. So for me, we had them fill out uh, a sheet and it had what was their name and if they could have one holiday gift, what would it be? And when was their birthday? And the key was, what was your favorite treat? Right. And we saved it and we put when these children's birthdays were. So if they loved Santa and their birthday was today, a cookie, their favorite cookie would arrive and say, "Hey, happy birthday, Michael. Love Santa. Can't wait to see you. Enjoy the cookie." Right?
very
Or
good.
it was, another card saying, "Hey, can't wait to light the first night of Hanukkah with you." And the parents were just in awe at how we could remember and want to share in that glow, right? That kid is just going to light up and be like, I got a present from someone who I didn't even invite to my birthday. It's the
So
same
it's
piece
so
as,
awesome. Yeah, yeah. I'm
well,
saying I hear a lot of these, right? I've interviewed dozens and dozens of agents. All of this stuff typically revolves around the individual, not their kids. This is the first
correct.
I'm hearing. Again, I love hearing something different. I hear different events and all that, which is awesome. But that how you use the database to connect with the kid and deliver something inexpensive, the treat,
Hmm.
absolutely fantastic. I love it. Uh, how is that now? How many years later?
So
How many
now
kids do you
those
deliver things
kids,
to?
oh, it's nonstop.
Yeah,
But now it's, you're always having to follow up, right? There's always another piece of it. And that's where
yeah.
the CRM gets involved, right? So it could be now 5 years later, someone's graduating high school, right? And they're off to college. So you're sending a little, hey, here's an emergency kit, right? Because wouldn't it be great one day when they come back 4 years from now and then they're engaged and now they're going to say, well, she's been touching on me and I didn't even know she's my go to agent to begin with. We've had multiple generational families now, grandparents, kids, grandkids. So you don't have to go and buy leads and spend all this money. Love on the people that you have. I think maybe I have 2,000 people in my database. I'm not worried about having 5,000 because I still only know 2,000, right? So I tell agents that a lot. Like, don't worry about how many people you have because your cell phone and my cell phone don't look the same. So,
Right.
start there. Other events that we do is not when the kids are together. My job is to network the parents together. So I have friends or clients, well, now they're
Interesting.
friends and clients that own a vegan restaurant. Well, I have friends that are vegan. So I would bring them together and say, hey, you should try out there and, look at that. And now all of a sudden their restaurant's their favorite restaurant. You have to be able to make your events worth coming to because people are going to say, hey, you know what? We met those people when we went to Maria's event. Let's just go. Let's pop in and say hi. Right. So you want to make it fun for the kids. You want to make it worth it for the parents because eventually they're going to say, you know what? Maria knows everybody in town. She sits on the board. She does this. Maybe she knows somebody we can talk to. And that's how you start becoming the go-to. Like, who do I use for wills and estates? Who am I using for, not just who's your roofer? Do you have a handyman? But now they're coming saying, hey, do you know any financial advisors? We have to put a will and uh, estate together because we've now just purchased an investment property. So you want to be able to have certain people at that table all the time, right? And you're setting them up specifically to meet. And I think that's what's important. And it's the piece that a lot of people miss.
Yeah. I think something else that people miss that you're doing naturally, whether it was a strategy or not, is playing the long game.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, that you're the generational side, you were comfortable, maybe it was the time you got involved in this and the security, your husband retiring, you had some money, you had a
Hmm.
vision, but you did this, right? And
Right.
you understood, where this can go. And it is a long game in real estate. People don't realize how quickly you're right, the kids graduate college and they go to buy a
Hmm.
house.
Right.
And now if you've been touching them and got them their thing and reminded them, they're going to come to you. Or when they ask their parents, hey, who should I go to? Oh, it's Maria. She's always stayed in touch.
Right.
Not an easy thing to do. We know it's what most agents struggle with, even with a CRM. It's one thing
Hmm.
having a CRM. These CRMs are made, you have to do the work with the
Correct.
CRM. And that's what people do forget. They think they're getting, I don't know, drip campaigns that are magically going to automate and happen without them. It's not the case,
No.
in most of these. We're not here to talk about agent moves. That is complete automation, AI automation. It's amazing, but it's it's the future of what's happening really in real estate today. You have to do the work, and you did the work, and
Right.
that's a big difference.
I think people forget that it's a contact sport, right? You have to be out and about
Yeah,
and seen and everything. And it's not just on Facebook and Instagram and all of that. And it's a great tool. Don't be silly. It is a great tool. But there's something about sitting down and having a cup of coffee when maybe one of your clients is, going through a bad season, right? Like they're having a moment. And it's not about real estate. It's about the connection. If they're using you to trust you with this most prized possession, right? Their
yeah,
assets, their finances, and they're sharing with you things that you may not have known. And then it also turn out to be my sphere and my friends and my family. They're trusting you with that. And you have to be there more for the other stuff than just the buy and the sale. Right. So I have people who they're three sisters, all each have bought from me. Right. So for me, that morning lead gen is, hey, let's go get coffee. It's not a real estate thing. Let's just get coffee. I don't ever bring up real estate. They might. And I'm always like, don't worry about it. It's always real estate. What's going on with the kids? What happened with this one? Who made safety patrol? Who I know will always talk about real estate if we wanted to, but I want them also to know that it's not always about that.
yeah,
Stop making it about the paycheck. Make it about the relationship. That's
yeah.
all that matters. And if you can keep
Fabulous.
that relationship, you'll have a client for life.
Excellent. Excellent. We're going
Mhm.
to leave it at that.
Okay.
Loved it. I think you gave us some great stuff here. That's what I look for out of these is, like I said, if you can get someone take one thing away, and I think there's more than one thing they're going to take away from this one with you.
Well, I
So
hope so.
really, really appreciate the time.
Thank
Please
you.
follow Maria on social. Where can we look for you on social?
We are on Instagram and Facebook. It's just my name, not the team name, just as an individual, Maria Raspanti. Would love to hook up.
Excellent. And what about your website?
YFLHomes.com.
Excellent. Excellent. Please follow Maria. Stay in touch with her. I'm going to follow Agent Moves on our YouTube channel. Please
Yep.
subscribe. And until next time, again, thank you so much for taking this much time, Maria. Really appreciate it.